enterprises and community organizations in developing tourism programs and visitor experiences. Passionate about Davao's history, culture, and heritage, Gracie continues to champion sustainable, inclusive, and community-centered tourism through storytelling, education, and destination development initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Ms. Gracie Plata.
Mabuhay Badayo, once again, I am still here. And this afternoon, we will be talking about one of my most favorite topics on earth. It's food. So, our guests for this afternoon are really very passionate, not only about food, but in making it. So, good afternoon once again. Our first panelist this afternoon is a prominent agricultural entrepreneur, regenerative farmer, and a leading figure in the Philippine cacao industry. She is the founder and manager of Gran Verde Family Farm in Kalinan, Davao City, where she champions science-driven, climate-smart permaculture and sustainable cacao ecosystems. Serving as the president of Cacao City and the chairperson of the Davao City Cacao Industry Council, she is deeply dedicated to elevating local cacao and chocolate production on both the national and world stages. Beyond farming, she is an active collaborator across agricultural sectors, driving industry innovations like the cross-pollination of Davao's iconic coffee and cacao communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Rick Organza. One of my favorite people din ito. Our second panelist this afternoon is a highly accomplished academic leader, culinary expert, and industry consultant with over a decade of dedication on service to the hospitality and tourism sectors in both local and national setting. He currently serves as the Dean of College of International Tourism and Hospitality Management at the Lyceum of the Philippines University, Davao. He holds a Doctor in Management, major in Human Resource Management. Beyond his extensive academic credentials, he is a formidable part in the culinary arts. He is a certified guest service professional under the American Hotel Lodging Education Institute and holds a diploma from the International School for Culinary and Hospitality Management, or ISCA, at Quezon City, Manila. His deep commitment to the culinary community is reflected in his leadership history. With the prestigious LTB Chefs Association of the Philippines, Davao Chapter, where he has contributed for years as Vice President and immediate past President from 2022 to 2025, and currently as Interim President of LTB Davao, notably serving for the Davao Culinary Cup for 11 years, a former COREP 11 President from 2016 to 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Rafi Iroma. Yes, I love this too actually. Paborito namin na topic ang pagkain because Dr. Rafi, because as you know, is a chef and ito rin is of course permaculture and agriculture. Ayan, magandang hapon sa inyong dalawa. Tayo mag-chichikan this afternoon. To start, do you think that Davao is already a food destination? And what do you think is our top, kumbaga, product that we will be able to market as Davao talaga? So, Dr. Rafi, ang una.
Siyempre, number one, sa unang tanong, no, Ma'am Gracie, no, it is a top destination in terms of food. Yes, 100%. Kasi naman, no, ang mga tao pupunta sa Davao, hindi lang naman dahil sa mga lugar, but of course, one thing is food. So, ang dami-dami, no, na pag pupunta sila dito, mention nila, syempre, yung mga pomelo natin, yung durian, yung marang, ang gusto yun. Syempre, the cacao queen is here with me, with us right now. So, ang dami, the princess. So, sobrang dami, no? At ang pagkain naman sa Davao, focusing, no, doon sa mga heritage itself and even yung culture itself, and diverse din ang pagkain sa Davao, no? Kumbaga, from different places all over the country, dito nakikita, and may ibang flavor, may ibang atake, no, yung pagkain dito sa Davao. So, yes na yes yung unang tanong, no, about sa, it is a destination for food.
Definitely destination na siya for cacao beans kasi lahat naman ng malalaking chocolate brands source their beans from Davao farms. So talagang dito talaga we supply 75% of the total country's volume for cacao. So, do you think, I have a question for Doc Rafi. Why do you think food is become one of the strongest motivators to travel? Bakit si food nagiging parang nagiging tourism attraction na din siya?
Ito yung nakakatuwa, no? 2 weeks ago, talking about that, no, napaka-diverse kasi ng Davao. Until this point of time, patuloy pa rin yung bisita at most of the people also wanted to stay in Davao. Yung history, balik ko lang 100 years ago, no? Yung great-grandfather ko, kinento sa akin ng lola ko na yung great-grandfather ko is from Ilocos. Pumunta sila, no, 1880-something, dito sa Davao, specifically in Turil. And then nakapag-asawa ng Davao Oriental, Tagamati, so Mandaya. No? So yung great-grand mother ko is Mandaya. So, try to imagine, no? So, yung culture na kung saan nasa Luzon, dinala dito. And then, dinagdagan pa yun ng story din ng maternal part doon sa side ng mama ko, na kung saan galing din sa Cebu, Bohol, na nag-merge dito sa Davao City, no? And then, they actually go from different places. So, considering na yung mga pagkain natin, na it's really diverse, at the same time, yung gastronomy, parang melting pot tayo dito, kaya na-shock ako na ibig sabihin pala yung mga pagkain, yung example, yung humba natin, it's like, of course, an adobo, pero sa Davao, pag sabing humba, humok na baboy, di ba? So, we consider isa sa mga favorite ng mga Davaoense, o yung ganon. Sinabi mo kanina, Ma'am Gracie, I'm listening, about the grilling, no? So, one of the most easier, pero isa sa pinakamasarap, na inahanda. Pag pumunta ka sa Davao, automatically, meron tayong mga restaurant dito, sugba talaga, di ba? So, may lauoy, ayan. So, meron tayong ibang atake. Pero, yun yung lasa at flavor mismo. Lalo na sa Davao Oriental, no, Davao del Sur, so different places, different provinces. Pagdating dito sa Davao, automatically, kung ano yung nasa ibang provinces, matitikman mo dito sa Davao City. And try to imagine also from different places all over the country, they actually visited long time ago, and then diverse talaga ang pagkain natin. And we can consider also as part of the history, yung naririnig natin, 1500s time ng mga Spaniard, pero 1,000 years ago, Arabic, no, mga Arabo, mga Malay, no, is actually staying here for almost 500 years then. Yung mga kapitbahay natin sa Malaysia, sa Indonesia, they also stay here in the Philippines ng matagal na panahon. Kaya yung pagkain natin mula sa Muslim product, mga Muslim indigenous, no, at the same time sa mga community dito sa Davao region, diverse talaga siya thousands of years back then, even 100 years.
O diba, talaga, super diverse ang products ni Davao. We cannot just identify one na in terms of food, what is a food, hindi pwedeng isa lang. Kasi malaleft out yung iba. So, kailangan talaga lahat i-promote natin. Tita, I have a question. You know, visitors often think food begins at the restaurant. Why is it important to start the story on the farm?
Alam mo, Gracie, maganda yata na ipakita ko na yung presentation ko.
Ay, okay. Ayan.
It answers that question. So, yung story, the story behind the origin.
Okay,
So,
sige. Meron tayo. Oh, yes, pwede.
Okay lang na...
Oo. Sa side tayo.
Thank you, Gracie, kasi nag-segue ka actually dun sa hinanda kong presentation. At hindi naman siya mahaba, 10 minutes lang. So, okay. So, dahil sineselebrate natin ang Duaw Davao, parang dinagdagan ko na lang yung tagline. Ginawa kong Duaw Davao, Duaw Davao. But the point that I'd like to convey to those of you who are listening right now is this: tourism is not actually an end product. Tourism, whether it be food or a farm experience, it is the bridge that reconnects consumers to production systems. So ito yung sinasabi ni Gracie, na may pinagmumulan ang ating pagkain. At ang experience natin is never complete without pagkain. Diba? Pagkain is so central. So magandang hapon, I'm Wade Hordanza. I'm a farmer, I'm a food crafter, I'm a farm guide, and a storyteller also. So when we invite people to Duaw Davao, because pang ilang taon na ng Duaw Davao, Gracie? 2 years. The idea behind Duaw Davao is not to simply invite people to enjoy our city's destination. I think the bigger purpose behind Duaw Davao is to invite them to experience the kind of living food system, food businesses, and all of the other experiences that are actually present in Davao City. And each one of them influences the other. So similarly, when we host in Gran Verde, we want the experience to influence their buying behaviors and ultimately their lifestyle. Can we move on to the next slide? So people come to Davao, and the visit to our destinations is not isolated to attractions lang. They are part of one interconnected food system. Because, I want to ask you, you go and enjoy a destination, do you never not eat? You always eat. That's why everything should be connected to food systems. So next slide. So, and just like chocolate, all of our food has a beginning. So every chocolate has a beginning, and it all starts with the ecosystem. And what is that ecosystem? It's our soil, it's our stingless bees, it's the trees, the forest, and all the other systems that you would find in the farm. So before chocolate becomes a product, it begins as an ecosystem where healthy soils, pollinators, shade trees, and farmers all contribute to the quality of cacao. So sustainable chocolate gastronomy starts long before that bar touches your tongue. Okay? So next slide. In many of our destinations, and we've been so really, the launch of the Davao City Abundant Harvest Tour, which put the spotlight in many farms, was one of the best gifts that we farmers received this year through the City Tourism Office. At Gran Verde, we offer these experiences. We do a cacao walk, where you actually follow the cacao's journey from flower to finished chocolate. We also do Bahandi sa Uma. And it is, the translation of it, kung hindi man kayo Bisaya, is nature's blessing. It's a walk through the food forest where you actually gather the ingredients that you would prepare to be able to toss something really nice and fresh in the farm kitchen. So at Gran Verde, cacao is not grown monocropped. Okay? It's part of a living system where the entire players, from insects to beetles to everything, to nematodes, and people, of course, support each other. So when you experience a farm destination, you just don't see farming. You actually see all the other actors in the farm. Okay? So, farm tourism and experiences transforms the visitors into informed consumers. Kasi naiintindihan nila kung paano gino-grow yung pagkain. Next slide. So, well, there's a hidden ingredient in many of these farm destinations, and it is that pollination and biodiversity. Nabanggit niyo yun kanina, Gracie, no? So nature is the invisible partner in food production. And when visitors see all of these pollinators and all the other supporters of biodiversity, yung mga bisita, naiintindihan na ang every food product depends on a healthy ecosystem that often goes unnoticed. So, ang nakikita lang natin pagkain. Hindi natin nakikita yung mga unseen actors na tumutulong sa farmers natin para mag-produce ng pagkain na yun. Okay? Next slide. And in many farms, because they have many produce and they have abundant yields, we usually process the bean to something more value-adding. So, processing creates livelihood. That's one of the ripple effects of value-adding. Cacao becomes more valuable when transformed, and every step from fermentation to chocolate making creates jobs, supports local enterprises, and keeps more value within the Davao City economy. Okay? Next slide. But because we are part of a bigger ecosystem where value chain actors such as the chocolate crafters have organized themselves into a marketing co-op, Cacao City, one of the exhibitors here, has become a platform for us to be able to offer our products. It is where consumers meet us producers and where our stories accompany the products that we buy. And where visitors can understand the journey behind every chocolate bar. How many of you here actually know Cacao City exists? Cacao City was born during the time of Mayor Sara Duterte. So we signed a memorandum of agreement with her because we were already bidding to become the chocolate capital of the Philippines. And that Cacao City and the aggregation of all the different chocolate crafters made for a stronger claim that we be declared as the chocolate capital of the Philippines. Okay? And then we move on to a product that we create out of Gran Verde, and that product is called Wheat Sweets. That's next slide. At Wheat Sweets, we actually tell the people who come that there is a story behind the things that we do. And that story revolves around local ingredients, local farmers, local identity, and local livelihood. So, andun yung circularity na pinapakita namin so that gastronomy becomes more than taste. It becomes an experience. It is now rooted in culture, identity, and storytelling. When visitors enjoy cacao-based creations, they are experiencing the landscape. They are experiencing the people behind that landscape, and they are experiencing, of course, traditions that made those products possible. Okay? So, I'm down to 3 slides. So, tourism essentially, chocolate gastronomy, next slide, becomes a learning journey. You know, experiences will now shape their behavior because they appreciate where it comes from. They appreciate who creates these products. There is now a certain level of influence as far as buying behaviors is concerned. Because research consistently shows that people value food differently pag naiintindihan nila kung saan galing. Farm visits, tasting, and storytelling help consumers appreciate the environmental and social costs behind food production. Therefore, our cacao tourism, ably supported by the City Tourism Office and by the other units of government like the City Agri Office, next slide, the circular economy of cacao tourism is flourishing in Davao. And every purchase done during these visits to the farms sends a signal. When consumers choose products linked to farms, they create demand for better farming practices. Tourism becomes part of that circular economy when responsible consumption rewards responsible production. Okay? So yung mga farms na medyo dahan-dahan ang tinatanggal yung mga harsh chemicals sa pag-grow nila ng pagkain kasi alam naman natin that it affects quality. So, we hope that gastronomy tourism can inspire those of us who are into production and those of you who are into consumption naman. So, our last slide, there is a saying, the future of Duao Davao and the future of Duao Cacao, we hope that the best souvenirs our visitors take from coming to Davao to visit is a new habit. And what is that new habit? That habit of getting to know your farmer, getting to know who makes your food, supporting food systems that are local. So the future of cacao gastronomy, and for that matter, Davao tourism, is not simply attracting visitors. It is creating more informed customers or consumers. If visitors leave Davao choosing local food, supporting farmers, reducing waste, and valuing biodiversity, then tourism becomes a powerful tool for sustainable production and consumption. So, I hope Davao City's destinations are not just places to visit. We can rediscover that connection between nature, farmers, food, and ourselves by cultivating not only better products, but better consumers and a more sustainable future. So, Gracie, I know that was a long-winded answer to a very simple question, but I did not want to lose this opportunity kasi nandito yung puso ko kasi nag-grow ako ng pagkain. Yun. So, maraming salamat.
You're most welcome, Tita Win. Ang ganda ng sagot, pang Miss Universe. Ang ganda ng sagot ni Tita Win. We know more about farming and where our food comes from. So, I have a question for the both of you. Kung kayo, what is one Davao food experience na kailangan i-develop and i-invest in over the next 5 years? Sa tingin niyo? Ano yung parang experience na kailangan meron si Davao?
Ako muna.
Okay, sabi mo na.
Yung ano natin, recent last month lang ata yun, or 2 months
Yes, March.
March, I was actually really amazed, no? Madam Wheat, no, Tito Wheat was there, explaining everything. And then we taste a lot of cacao and other actually dishes in kakanin. And then touch with cacao. Actually, cacao, no, in fairness naman, no, yun yung kailangan, no? Kahit alam natin they're here for quite a decade, but we need to push forward, lalo na sa cacao capital of the country, considering Davao City. At saka idadagdag ko lang, bakit ganon, no? Kasi, walang ibang Mount Apo sa buong Pilipinas, nasa Davao po siya. At yung sulfur yung sulfur, no, na nandyan sa lupain natin, yun nagbibigay ng production kung bakit napakagana ng mga fruits and vegetable ng Davao region. So, na-mention mo kanina, no, Tita Wing, na yung mga, kumbaga, yung mountains itself, yung ganyan. So, napakaganda, no? If you can consider that one thing, 5 years or even 10 years or 20 years, considering Davao continues and maintain that particular food product starting with cacao. For
Yes,
me,
Tita Win.
sure.
Hindi ko alam, Gracie, kung ito yung tumbok doon sa tanong mo. Pero, kasi, what is that one thing that we need to develop so that Davao becomes such an attractive destination?
Yes, in terms of food.
Ang feeling ko kasi, Gracie, ang hindi pinapakita yung kwento ng mga tao. Kinikwento na natin kung saan galing ang pagkain. Pero mas malalim ang kwento ng mga taong nag-grow ng mga pagkain na yun. So, sa akin, ang tingin ko kasi, Gracie, yung food, isa lang siya sa mga avenues para palalimin at pagandahin yung experience. Pero kailangan tingnan natin yung kabuuan ng experience kasi behind that experience, and this is something I always get from visitors to the farm, bakit mas masarap ang pagkain? Kapag alam namin paano ginrow, at saka nakilala namin kung sino ang nagpatubo niyan, at saka mas nakilala namin yung iba pang actor sa nature, hindi lang yung tao. Kasi nagpatubo ng kakao na yun, hindi lang naman tao. Pati yung mga bulate sa ilalim ng lupa. And I think, Gracie, for the longest time, we've been so centered on man. Because siya lang ang pinaka-obvious, siya lang ang pinaka-halata. Kasi siya ang naglalakad, siya ang nagkikwento, siya ang umaarte. Pero hindi natin nakikita yung invisible helpers. And I wish, Gracie, na we can start looking at food in a very different perspective. Because food itself is life. And that tree has a spirit. I know I'm gonna take it to that level of, trees are spiritual beings. But have we ever looked at trees as spiritual beings? Other than something that we can consume. Yung fruits niya to be consumed lang. So I feel like, Gracie, beyond food, I think the most important thing that Davao can do is to actually change perceptions about the soil and how much life soil gives us in the form of food. Pero kailangan natin talaga palalimin. So, hindi ko nasagot yung tanong mo, Gracie, but I hope somehow, iba yung,
Yes, I get it. Yung stories, baga, beyond the people who farm, but also the other elements of farming. So yun yung gustong experience na pwede nating mag-invest in. So, development of stories beyond the farmers, but also the farming agents and life itself that sustains farming. So, that's ko yun.
Gracie, kanina may conversation kami ni Sir Rafi. Sabi namin, ang culinary students natin, ang daming creativity, ang lalim ng hugot ng creativity nila kasi they can whip up very beautiful looking dishes. But I asked him, are our cooks or our chefs, can they tell stories? Because the minute these chefs become great storytellers, chances are, papatok yung kanilang ginagawang pagkain. Kasi may kwento. And just like nanay, di ba? Yung kwento ni nanay, kung paano niya niluto yung dinuguan at kung paano niya hinanap yung pinakamagandang parte ng meat. Kinuha niya sasukin niya kay Aling Nena. At di ba, ang daming kwento kasama. Pag naluto ni nanay, yung di ba, bakit ang sarap-sarap? Dahil andun yung spirit of that, yung na-weave niya yung stories na galing sa palengke, kinuha ko sa suki ko, tinabihan ng suki ko, hindi binenta sa iba, ni-reserve yan para sa akin dahil ako ang kanyang favorite na. Yung ganong klase So, sana dumating tayo sa puntong gano'n, no, na gagawa tayo ng isang bagay, pero kailangan alamin natin kung ano yung kwento.
So, in terms of tourism education, meron tayong kailangan para lessons as well as modules on how to develop parang stories as well, to help in like the tours as well as the visits. So, I think magandang suggestion yan sa Dean kasi. So, yan, Chef and Dean. So, magandang suggestion yan sa ating tourism educators. So, as I said, paano nyo ito, food tourism talaga to? Paano kaya natin yung hindi lang yung mga visitors, how do we ensure that the farmers, the food producers, and the local communities benefit from food tourism? How do we do that? Anong pwede natin gawin in terms of recommendations and to ensure, kasi usually, di ba, sorry, pag mall-based siya, medyo, yung talagang mahal na. So, we have other food establishments or sites that are outside our malls. So, these are already thriving businesses ang nandito. So, how do we ensure na yung mga businesses outside of our malls are really benefiting from what we are promoting? So sa tingin mo, ano yung pwedeng gawin natin?
Thank you, Ma'am Gracie, no? Yung current lang na nangyari, like for example, Davao Culinary Cup, that was the 11th year, no, 2026. Of course, the students, hotel, restaurant are actually there, joining the competition. Isa lang yun, no, sa mga halimbawa, na people would actually go to Bangkiruan, to the Palengke, to Agdao, no, different places because they need to look for something, ingredients that actually present here in Davao, no, region. And isa yun, parang yung team kasi is Bounty of the South, no? Bounty of the South. And then, global standard, global flavors. Galing yung mga ingredients is nandito, nakikita sa Davao region na nalalasahan. Pero yung lasa itself is globally, no? Isa nga yung mga common na nandito ngayon, nag-represent kayo ng mga output nila, ng mga products. So, yun, even the schools, no, even other resort, hotel, restaurant, they actually really recognizing those products na nandito mismo. And may mga suki na rin sila. It's quite happy also, no? Ako masaya ako dahil naririnig ko, may mga kilala ng mga tao na farmers mismo, na direct sa kanila at saka minsan sa Bangkiron, magkita. Even, of course, no, kahit sa mall, no? Because yung sa mall naman, galing naman din sa mga farmers. Because we have also a little farm naman din, no, na ginaano namin sa Davao, and then minsan ay mga malls na nag-deliver, even the schools itself. So buhay na buhay talaga. Yun nga lang, no, one thing kasi mabilis lang, yung shelf life ng vegetable and fruits, to encourage more, no, more and more na yung benefits na makukuha. Kasi sayang, no, marami pang pwede kami. Pag-usapan din namin yung mga kanina, yung isang produkto na to, sabi ko lang example kanina Di ba, Pete, sabi niya, ano kayo pwedeng gawin dyan sa produkto na ito na walang saya, no, which is walang tapon, ayan. So, actually, sa competition, yun yung iniisip lagi to make it sustainable. Hindi lang basta naluto mo siya, kumbaga, kung pipino ito yung ginamitan mo, ano pang pwedeng gamitan ng pipino ito? Meron one time, kahit sabihin natin pastry lang to, ganito, ganyan, no? Ang daming pwede. Even the chocolates actually used into pastries, and the chocolate that actually being uses, marami pang pwedeng gawin doon. Lahat ng produkto, walang tapon, walang sayang, yun naman talaga yung goal. And even the farm itself, parang ang sarap, kung ikaw farmer ka, and then yung produkto mo ginagamit, iba sa pakiramdam mo. At they're also being recognized, they're actually, hindi ganun kadali. Pag ipupunla mo, pag i-prepare mo yung it took time, no, para mag-grow, and then you harvest it, no? And there's always prayer for that to make everything good. Hindi ganun, it's not a magic, no? Sa estudyante naman or sa mga culinary industry, ganun din, pinapakita, binibigay na ito yung kailangan natin, ito how the value, no, of that particular food. Pag kakainin mo, pag nandun sa hapag mo, saan ang galing is part of the history itself, and the same time, kung paano tinake good care yung produkto bago pa nabigay sa'yo. Hindi ganun kadali, pero it's worth it. Kaya yung process, sometimes the process is painful. The process is difficult, but if you believe the process, of course, you really appreciate it.
From a farm perspective, Grace, because we accept visitors. One way for the local community na magkaroon ng ripple effect yung revenue is number one, do not serve something that you don't grow. Or only serve food that is grown by your neighbors para you can buy pa. Diba? O kulang ka ng gabi, bili ka ng gabi sa kapitbahay mo. So I always tell my staff sa farm, hindi tayo magsiserve ng spaghetti sa merienda natin Kasi hindi natin, at sabihin mo sa akin anong ingredients sa spaghetti ang ginugrow natin. Diba? So kung gusto mo, gawa tayo ng spaghetti from kamoteng kasaba. Okay? Gawa tayo ng, yung ganong klaseng of course, paper plates are a no-no in the farm. You eat using dahon. And we've had, mahandi sa uma, which is really a lunch, no? Na ang mismo mga foreigners, I tell them, I'm sorry, hindi po kami nagbibigay ng kubyertos dito sa farm because you come to us to experience a local experience. We encourage you to eat with your hands. And hands down, yung mga foreigners, kakain, nagkakamay. Pero yung mga Pinoy, minsan, hihingi pa ng plastic glove. Sabi ko, bawal po ang plastic sa farm. So, Gracie, ang daming paraan para makinabang yung buong community. From pagbili mo na lang ng kakanin, i-order mo na lang sa kapitbahay mo or bilhin mo sa local palengke basta as long as pumasa ang lasa sa'yo. Kasi yun yung pinatry namin ni Aboy. Gusto namin talagang linosan yung mga pag-shop namin sa mga groceries na alam naman namin kalimitan dun sa mga bagay na nasa loob ng groceries natin. Marami sa kanila hindi pagawa sa atin, hindi pagawa sa Pilipinas. Kaya parang kailangan maging very, very creative tayo para sa ganon, ang talagang natutulungan natin yung local economy talaga.
Okay, speaking of sustainability, kasi si city government, meron na talaga tayong ordinance, no, to develop yung anong ways to first food security and sustainability. So, kayo as farmers and as a tourism stakeholder, how would you think na paano natin ma-encourage yung ating mga youngsters, the next generation, to become farmers and to work towards sustainability? Kasi di ba mahirap, sabi mo, so paano?
Actually, ganun, as part of the education sector also and practitioner also in the industry, considering the fact yung generation ngayon, parang okay lang sila, basta kakain sila, okay na sila, basta ito yung outlook. No? Pero, somehow, they're actually asking, natanong sila kailangan lang nila ng proper, place in the area or people actually, in order for them to learn what is behind about this. Ito, sinasabi ko ng kwento ko sa kanila, may mga estudyante, sabi ko, okay, bumili ako dito. Pero bakit kailangan ko pang bumili sa along the highway? Sabi ko, para hindi mag-close or para continue sila, ma-encourage sila. Yung kapitbahay lang namin na area, tama yun, bumili talaga ako nearby. Kasi sabi ko, para continue lang sila magbenta, para acknowledge din sila. Yung mga ganung bagay. And also, no, na doon sa tanong na paano natin na-encourage yung mga estudyante, ma-appreciate nila, hindi lang dahil na-experience nila o nakita nila, pero pag proper yung information, no, especially sa part of the curriculum na meron yun, and the same time, yung mag-join sila ng mga conferences about this, it helps from the government, of course, from the private sectors, no? Napaka-importante. Yung mga competitions, not about competition alone, because there's always orientation na sinasabi ng mga judges at the same time ng organizer na unique products are actually available in the market here in your region. So yun yung ina-highlight. Kaya nga yung mga judges, kung saan lupalot sila ng bansa or mundo, the moment they came here, they were really amazed na, nakikita lang nila sa magazine or nakikita lang pag dito, na titikman na talaga nila, no? And so yun yung mga bagay na ma-consider din. And of course, pwede nilang ma-relate yun sa mga kapwa din nila, no? Mga young ones, especially in this generation. So napakaganda, from the parents itself, parental, at the same time sa mga teachers, and yung proper education, napaka-importante yun. And yung support naman syempre ng gobyerno. Sabi ko nga kami, gusto ko yung mga estudyante ko lahat. May mga schedule sila that actually visit and ma-appreciate nila yung different farm dito sa Davao na napakarami na they can visit. Makita nila kung paano nag-grow, saan nanggaling. Minsan nga nasa-shock sila na, oo nga, no, bakit kaya? Tapos pag kinukwento mo sa kanila, ay, kaya pala. And then, nakikwento nila sa parents nila, sa mga kaibigan nila. So, that's one thing, no? Sharing of those knowledge behind the history of that particular food or those farming and things within Davao City. So, napakaganda. Na i-inculcate natin sa kanila.
Yes. Tita, wait, I have a question. Ikaw, if a visitor visited Grand Verde, ano yung sana hope mo na takeaways ng visitor? Yung parang, ano yung matutunan niya pag alis niya ng Grand Verde? Yung parang, in an ideal world, if the visitor spends a half day or a whole day at Grand Verde, what do you wish na takeaways ng visitor na yun?
Hindi ko na wish, Gracie, kasi ito feedback talaga ng mga pumupunta sa farm. Recently, last month, I hosted about 20 seniors. All of them were past the age of 60. Mga kaedad ko. Okay? And can you imagine, these seniors, before leaving the farm, decided to hold a sharing circle. Kasi yung nag-organize ng farm tour for the seniors wanted to know, anong napulot nyo dito sa experience na to? And many of them said, I wish I had farmed earlier. And if I still can, because I'm still mobile, I'd like to go back and farm again. And can you imagine, these are seniors already. So, at the end of the day, Gracie, when people leave the farm, appreciating yung lupa na tinatapakan nila at lahat ng life forms sa ilalim ng lupa na yan, then I would have done my job. Because Gracie, most of the time, we only see what's visible above the ground. We never care to know what kinds of life forms live underneath the ground. And I think that's the most when you have a thought process like that, it starts you thinking, na teka muna, what kind of lifestyle am I living? Because I just buy and buy and buy, consume everything that is convenient. People start to think about and re-examine their lifestyle. And I think that's what the connection between soul and soil is all about. It's for us to rethink the kind of lifestyles we're living and if we're actually doing ourselves the best service by developing that relationship, because soil is the foundation of all of life.
Wow, ang gandang legacy niya dito. So, when we say withhold cancer, song is the foundation of life. Ayun. So, wow. Oh, ito na. Sa ano natin ito, second to the last question. So, as Dr. Reynolds, as a chef, as a tourism educator, as a farmer, if you had 3 food experiences to recommend to a first-time visitor to Davao, what would it be and why? Tatlo. Huwag lang isa kasi kaya diverse na tayo, diba? So, hindi talaga pwede isa lang. So, isipin natin, kung tatlo na food experiences, or let's say for example, na pagkain, na dish, na i-recommend mo, what would it be and why? Ayan, pang-Miss Universe ito yung mga
Actually, ang
tanong
ganda
mo.
para baka merong bias, baka ano. Pero marami kasi talaga, no?
Yes. So, top 3 na lang.
I will not mention the brand na lang siguro.
Yes, okay.
Pagkain, ganun na lang siguro.
Okay.
Kasi ito kwento mo lang, may time pa
Go, may time pa tayo.
Kasi I studied in nag-study din ako sa China Cantonese cuisine. But yung unang goal namin doon, the moment we were there, is to cook a product from China daw, sabi ko. And then I tried to cook the Shanghai.
Yeah, Shanghai.
Local Shanghai. It's quite funny because, and then the pansit, no, yung pansit natin dito. Because feeling ko, yun yung feeling that was 10 years back then. And then sabi nila, tapos na yung output ko, sabi nila, no, it's not the product of us. Kaya na-shock ako kasi, no, that's the pure in Philippines, gano'n. And they actually discuss everything. And so, to get the story, sabi ko, ganun pala. Sabi ko, so yung mga produkto ng pagkain na meron tayo dito, pag ang produkto is galing dito, and all ganyan. So, balik tayo dun kasi naano tuloy ako sa product na yun. Ito number 1, okay, syempre yung grilling, no? Sikat, ano natin, sino naman hindi nakakain sa... Sasabihin ko ba yun, okay lang ba? Baka wala tayo. Yung Penoms, no? Kasi grilling na, yung chicken nila, barbecue, ayan. So gusto nila yun. Every time pupunta dito, they will actually talk about it, no, na, ayan, yung pagkain nila dyan. Ganyan. So, masarap-sarap, kalamis-tamis.
Yes.
Tapos, syempre, ang Hulkan Show. Ayan. Oo, so, ayan, yung isa doon. And then,
ano yung last recommendation mo?
ay yung syempre sa Boulevard, the Luz, no?
Luz Manila.
So, yung mga, yun siya, commonly, naririnig ko. At the same time, nadadala ko yung mga bisita.
Hinilo, barbecue, and pansit.
Hinila barbecue, Hulkan Show.
Bulkacho. Hinilo, barbecue, at bulkacho. Okay. Sige. Tita Rick naman.
Gracie, I will stay true to my passion. I'm a farmer. Have you ever heard the saying, eat with the season?
Okay.
Kumain base sa kung ano ang in season. Kaya tayo nagkakanda loko-loko in terms of unsustainable consumption. It's because we don't eat with the season. So may panahon na maraming rambutan. May panahon na maraming gulay. May panahon na ang daming kamatis. Kaya lang, nakatrain kasi tayo na hanapin yung nakasanayan natin. So kung ang nakasanayan mo, nagising ka sa adobo ni Lola, maya't maya hahanapin mo yung adobo. But you're doing yourself a disservice by only sticking to your old-time favorites. Because that is not honoring nature. Nature has a season. Why can we not eat whatever is in season? And that's why, Gracie, hindi ko masasagot yan kasi parang kailangan, if we are to eat anything, it is to follow the natural cycles of the land and not stick to something favorite lang. Because doon tayo nagkakaproblema, nagiging unsustainable siya. Kasi, year in, year out, yun at yun, gano'ng kadaming kalabaw ang papakayin mo para ang bulkacho, di ba? No, really, I gotta say this. Mauubos ang kalabaw. Dahil sa bulkacho is going to be the number 1 in terms of demand. And that's already, at mauubos ang manok dahil sa puro penons na lang pinupuntahan dito. What will happen to the price price of rambutan and mangosteen and all the other gulais that we grow. So I guess I'm sorry, Gracie, I'm not answering it the way you would expect me to answer it. I'm really trying to answer it in a way where we really need to change the way we think. Kasi iba yung nakaugilian natin eh. And I think that is where you start. That is where change starts. When you start asking yourself, why am I repeatedly eating this? Why am I repeatedly cooking this for my children? If in the first place, hindi naman pala siya in season, bakit ako magpupumilit bumili ng durian kung hindi siya in season? Diba? So I think it actually calls, this change of paradigm and mindset actually calls for a new way of thinking, so that we can get out of the problem of unsustainable consumption. Kasi grabe na ang consumerism natin. Para lang makakain ng mga favorite natin, iaangkat natin kung saan-saang parte ng mundo. Which is totally unsustainable. Yun. And that's why we won't ever have that food security, because ang mga farmers grow ng crops, hindi naman binibili. Nabubulot na lang, itinatapon na nga lang ang truck-truck ng cabbage. Diba? Dahil hindi na nabenta na sa Baguio. So, Grace, I'm the kontrabida. Yaon. I'm sorry, but I gladly embrace the role of being kontrabida, because I think it's about time that there be more kontrabidas in our life to actually ask us to reflect on how we're living our lives. Yaon. Thank you.
Siguro Manwit, pagkatapos na kumain sa barbecue, kakain sila ng durian. Pagkatapos kumain ng balbakwa, kakain sila ng mangustin. Oo. Kakain sila ng gulay. So alternate na lang sila.
Pagkatapos ng pambabata, yun namang pampakanda.
Oo, gano'n.
Actually, tayo sa Davao City, during, di ba ang ating harvest season is during August and September. So kami dapat sa office, when I was still working as a reporter, pag August and September, tawag namin doon fruit diet. Kasi meron kami mga malalaking bukag na mga mangustin, kung anong in season, yun yung mga kinakain namin sa opisina. So minsan, hindi na rin kami kumakain ng rice, yun yung kinakain namin dati. When I was still working for Sunstar, kasi yung aming editor-in-chief na si Stella, siya yung nag-donate ng mga bukag-bukag ng mga pagkain. So, meron na rin tayo ngayon because a lot of families I see during the August and September, bumibili nyo ng maraming prutas. And sometimes, ito na yung mga meals nila, kinakain nila. Like usually in the breakfast, meron mga pomelo, meron mga ganyan. So fruit diet ang kasagaran sa taga Davao during August and September. So it's a good start natin tawin.
Partneran talaga natin yung mga
Yes.
yung mga isda, yung mga baka. Partneran natin ang mga putas.
Actually, hindi natin kinakain yung mga shoots ng mga puno. Because young mango shoots can be eaten. It can be made into, tinunuan. Ang daming dahon. Yung guyabano leaves can be eaten. They're edible. But people don't know anymore that these shoots are edible. We've really ignored it because mas na-attract tayo sa bunga. Diba? Pero ang daming parts ng puno that are edible. And I think we need to rewild ourselves. Rewild ourselves by getting to try many things. Even yung mga bulaklak sa inyong bakuran, many of
Yes,
these are
at Juan
edible.
Verde, when we visit, ang daming edible flowers. I think what you're saying, Tita Wing, is we really need to invest in re-educating. Kasi nung mga bata kami, I remember we had this book, yung mga para medicinal plants. It was a small green book that our teachers wanted us to study when we were kids. So I think what you're saying is kailangan i-re-educate ang mga bata, ang youth, ang next generation on the benefits of not only medicinal plants but yung edible plants and what are their benefits to us. Kasi ang sabi nga nila, our food is what heals us also. Not only does it nourish us, it also heals us. So, I think magandang investment yan in the next 5 years that we re-educate our people, especially in Davao, on what are the benefits of plants and flowers and other.
Gracie, pinapalalim mo ang food tourism by looking at food as medicine.
Yes. So, ayan. Okay, for our last, hindi naman ito question. Ano lang, sumpayan ninyo akong isulti. Okay. So, okay. Davao is a food destination because, ayan, geography,
Because life is here.
life is here din talaga. Oo nga. Life and everything that you want is here. Okay, it makes sense. Not only because we have plants and fruits that are uniquely Davao, because we also have life.
Good life, the simple and security.
Water is life. We have an abundant supply of water. Ayan, pwede, tama. Kita rin. Davao is a food destination because
Davao is a food destination because of our abundant soil.
abundant soil. Tama. Yes, what makes our agricultural products extra special and extra lamig is of course our soil. Actually, during the time before pre-colonial time. So, when our Spanish daw, ang mga nagpupunta dito, ang una daw talaga nilang napansin sa Davao is the green and abundance. So, kaya talaga tayo tinawag na land of promise. Kasi, even before, at ang mga foreigners ba na nagagawa dito sa ating area, according to Professor Macario Chuito, during our workshop on Davao history, he said that the first thing that the foreigners notice of Davao is because it's green and there is an abundance of flora and fauna. Yun talaga ang pinaka number one na attraction or na-attract sila or kumbaga na-agli sila kung sa Bisaya pa to come and really settle or conquer Davao, depends on who you ask. So, yun talaga yung ating number one na tourism product is our abundance dito sa Davao. That is why we have the Davao's Abundant Harvest Tourism Circuit. So, that ends our session for this afternoon. I would like to thank Ms. Ruth Hoganza and Dr. Rafi Aroma. Daghang salamat sa inyong pagpadayag this afternoon. And thank you also to our friends who still continue to listen and be with us this afternoon. Thank you, Davao City Tourism Operations Office, for doing our Davao Autumn Expo, and of course, our partner, event organizer, Carbo Events. Daghang salamat. And our, of course, mga exhibitors nato from the art, the food, and mga creatives nato ng mga groups dito sa Davao. Good afternoon, mabuhay madayaw, have a pleasant day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gracie Plata, for moderating this discussion on showcasing a food-driven destination experience. And thank you, of course, to our panels. We would like to award these certificates and tokens of appreciation. Allow me to read the citation. This certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Ruth Holganza. With sincere gratitude for your active participation as panelists in Dual Davao, the All-In Expo, your contribution has been invaluable and is deeply appreciated. Given on June 22, 2026 at Ayala Mall, Sabrisa, Davao City, signed by the OIC of Davao City Tourism Operations Office, Winanito Tormes Jr. Maraming salamat. The same certificate is given to Dr. Rafi Aroma and of course to our moderator as well, Ms. Gracie Plata. A round of applause, please. Maraming salamat for sharing your insights, for allowing us to have a better look at the industry of Davao in relation to its agribusiness, restaurants as well, and anything related to food. Maraming salamat po. You gave us so many talking points and ways to think even deeper about the current state of tourism of Davao City. Thank you so much to our speakers and of course to our moderator. Again, this is